Heck yeah, got that crane in place. Looks like the Frank is pleased. I know I'm pleased. We tested out yesterday, but we're not ready to lift anything because it needs a ton of welding, gussets, etc. The last thing we want to do is try to overdo this and snap it off of the base. SEMA's coming up, just making this announcement now. We're going to be in the South Upper Hall. The booth is FBS Distribution, but it's the Vintage Pro Paint, Ace of Shades, Cumberland products. Basically, where all the paints and things of that nature are, we're right there. So we'll have the Metro van, and I found these things. Do we got an M? Do we got an E? Do we got a T? Do we got an R? Do we got an O? I think we got them all. What's that spell? Metro! Yeah, we're going to have the Metro van there. Can't wait to see it. We got a little preview. You can see the video. Check us out at SEMA. I'll be there Wednesday, noon to 1. I might walk around a little bit more. I don't know. See you there. Hope. Alrighty, so here we are looking at this, and you know, this is what I came up with the plates and things that I had. Somebody asked me, wow, it'd be nice to see like a rundown of the list of parts you had to buy and the expense. So if you had to build a crane like this, I don't know what weight this would be rated at, but I'm sure that's the price point with this type of thing. It's like, well, the RAM says 12 tons, so a 12-ton crane that was 9'6" out, that's probably going to be really expensive. So I'm not saying that it's a 12-ton crane. If it lifts 500 pounds, 600 pounds at 9 feet, we're there. So it's a quarter-ton crane, 2,000 pounds in a ton. Is that right? Anyway, for a crane that's that far-reaching, you know, you would have maybe a base, other components. So all that aside, I got about $750 into this, and these parts could have been gotten for less money. So if you check it out, I bought the Lazy Susan bearing. It was $500. Did I say $750? No, it's closer to $1,000. Hey, you know, I wanted a crane. I'm a passionate guy. Rim for the trailer, 80 bucks. Stub axle for the trailer, 80 bucks. Ram, about 80 to 90 bucks. Those two telescopic sleeves, 30 bucks. The bolts, maybe 30 bucks. The steel, I had to buy a bulk piece of half-inch plate. That's where all this extra came from. So the whole kit, what did I say? About $250. So, I mean, for $1,000 and my labor to come up with this, I'm satisfied, right? It's something I need to finish this project. I'm not, if I was to come up with a gantry, right? Rent a gantry, borrow a gantry, buy a gantry, then it's always in the way. So, $1,000, it's a win-win. As far as I'm concerned, it was neither a waste of time or money. And we all know how that could be expressed. But it doesn't look good. It's all scrap, right? Could have got used parts. Could have been a lot less expensive. So either way, I ended up with this. And the round to the square transition is what bugs me most. You know, now I'm looking at photos, right? I was just slam, 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 putting it together for strength with what I had, and now we have to make it look like something. So I don't know that we need a ton more strength, but I want it to look like something. This is bothering me immensely. So what do we do there? Do we cap this off? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how does it transition from round to square to triangular? I don't even know what it is. I have all these plates, and I was just kind of laying stuff out, right? So, like, what if we put that one in here? See, now it starts to make a little more sense, right? So this shape, you know what I'm saying? And like we filled that in. I don't know. And then maybe we put up another one here. Or we put the smaller one in, or do we take this up here? Put that there. You know, I love this. Maybe I'll splice this one in to come up into that. That way that whole top corner's solid. And I don't know that it needs that much strength, but it'll definitely give it a cool look. Why don't we start at that? We'll work our way down. Because we only have 4 plates. We got 2 bigs and 2 smalls. Little of the biggie small conundrum, if you understand where I'm coming from. So let me get the grinder, chalk. Let's cut some stuff. So if we were to take this up into here, you know, we're gonna want that about right there, coming across. And it doesn't need to be a strict, perfect thing. When I say a strict, perfect thing, it's not for like 100% strength. Yeah, let's do this. Because I don't know how much strength we're gonna need. I think it might be okay like this, but you know, the idea is it looks like it's plated for a reason. Somebody in the comments, I mean, if they could have shouted, it would have been. They're like, get that man a plasma cutter. And you know what I say to that? No. Because then, once you have a plasma cutter, everything, I mean, I'm sorry. Once you have a plasma cutter, it's like, what, is everyone else knocked out of the game because they don't have the same thing? I mean, that's one of the big problems I have with keeping up with the Joneses, because I'm not in a rush. People get a little bit too hung up on their tools. I mean, if I had to cut this twice like I'm doing now, it would be way faster, but hey, I don't mind using a grinding disc. When that plasma cutter goes out, you're $2,000 out, right? And then you got to deal with the stress of fixing it. $90 grinder, $5 disc, all day long. And I've had 3 plasma cutters, and they do work awesome. They're very fast. They're very efficient. It is kind of a game changer. But you got the tool, you got the tips, right? There's a center tip. There's usually a little ring, like a collet. There's like a air diffuser. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a lot going on. And then if you're using compressed air and the air gets water in it, which will be typical for a low-tech, low-budget shop like me, then that decreases the life of the plasma cutter also. So I resorted to using nitrogen. And it did help a lot, but then that's another expense. And it's like, do you need all that baggage? Some do, I don't. I'm gonna turn down this welder to a sane level because that was cooking. We're gonna stay at about 200 or 20 volts and let's do a 390 wire speed, see how this works out. And I'm just gonna be doing a lot of tacking today, so I'm not gonna get into the sleeves and the whole getup because I could do that if I want. Yeah, that arc is a lot more controllable with the lower voltage and wire speed. Yesterday I was trying to weld overhead with that welder setup and it was just too hot and too fast. Yeah, I like that. But I am keeping the welder pretty hot because we're burning some rust out. Somebody also asked about me welding with a t-shirt on, especially under the cars. Like, doesn't it burn? Yeah, it stings. Still here. All right, that's a good starter. Now, just thinking, what if we have one smaller one of these? What if we just split that like that? It doesn't really do much here. It does kind of, I mean, I could put this down here like that. It's kind of half 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And we really don't need the strength here, but I would like to, I mean, maybe you can come here, like this will go there. And this could come down. You know, now that I'm looking, this would look even cooler if that kind of went like that, but I think we're definitely kind of past that. So, I mean, see, this is what I'm getting at, like that. Kind of comes close. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it did that? Again, just throwing ideas at the wall. You know, you wouldn't need half-inch plate there, but like, I don't know, does that look too abstract? Yes, it does. It looks completely bunk. I feel like it would look better doing this. I don't know. Or do we just fill that? Yeah. A little bit more. What if we were to fill that? Bring that in a happy little center. I have some 1/8-inch plate that'll do that. Because I want it to look industrial strength. I don't want it to look too artsy fartsy. Just gonna cut this out and see. Need a bigger workbench already. I also don't want to overthink this because what's that gonna serve? Besides wasting time and money. Yeah, that is exactly what it needed. That just brings that line right up. We marked this here so we got a pair. I couldn't help it, I just felt good welding. Yeah, so the base, I think, that helps it, brings it up. That hole, yeah, this access point will be closed off, but you'll be able to reach in there. It'll come off. Now we got our smaller piece. I think that, you know what I'm saying? Just, I'm treating this as its own thing, right? We're gonna measure, we're gonna eyeball it. Does it matter if we measure? Sometimes, but sometimes because this is on an angle and you got weird ends that aren't square, measuring may not help. So you got 9.5. That's 7, so let's just say 8. Yeah, looking at that, it's like 9 and 8. Looks like a good number to me. I don't know, how are we feeling about that? Yeah, I can live with that. Looking at it now, I might want to raise this up. Why? I don't know. I think I want to raise that up. Looks too crowded at the bottom. If it looks too crowded, it's too crowded. What we're doing today, a little heavy metal sculpture. Got some other ideas I'm working on the back of my brain right now. So that looked too tight. About that. Just gonna spot that on and take a look. Okay, oh great artiste, how do you feel now? That's better. Why did it need that? I don't know, but I feel better about it. Sure, getting a lot of feedback on this now. Turn down that wire speed a little. There we go. I need some more heat. All right, so I'm not doing anything crazy regarding welding just yet. Got another idea brewing. On the top, I want to have some kind of a, I don't know what you call it, a truss of sorts. The engine hoist has it, and I have this big piece of solid round that I'm never going to use. I had this solid round rod for a long time. I was thinking that might look pretty cool up on top of here. It's like a little detail. How high up do we want that? Let me get a rubber block. So, you know, we're thinking if that was like the center line of, you know, where the piece would come up. Does that look too low? You know, we put some suspension in it too. The idea being not so much for strength, but for looks, you know? Kind of like sailboat rigging, where you'll have that cool stuff. Oh yeah, that definitely adds to it. Yeah, let me weld the end of that. Yeah, that'll hold for the moment. How big is that block? That block is about 4 inches tall. Let's cut a 4-inch piece of this. That look good? So we literally want to go that way a little bit. Put this on here for a little balance. It's got to come back a little bit. Got to come forward a little bit. Got to come back a little bit. Don't ask me why. That's just the way I see it. Yeah, right there. I like it. Let's weld it. All right, now does that look vertical? It does. And did that? Looks like it tilted a little bit, huh? Definitely tilted forward. There we go. I like that. So I'm gonna weld this up, and you know, we want some tension. See that tension there? That's what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna pull on this and weld right here so that we achieve that kind of sprung look. Maybe I'll weld it under here first. So all the while I'm heating this, I'm pulling on the rear end of it, because as it starts to heat up, I'm going to pull that down. Now it wants to rotate. It's a good sign. See what I'm saying? We want this down like that, because we want tension in it. I like that. This thing is over this way just a bit. That's a good one. Oh, that did it. Cool. So now I'm gonna pull this down and weld here with all that stress, and I'm gonna cut it off. But I'm not trying to stress myself, so I'm gonna put a bar, put a big old tube on this. Oh yeah. Bearing is definitely working. Yeah, see? You do that, tack that. Just like so. So even if it doesn't add a ton, there I go using that ton word again. Even if it doesn't add a lot of strength, it looks cool. And again, that looks like a 3/4 inch solid rod, so that definitely has some strength, whether you need it or not. All right, cool. So I'll cut that off. Let's figure out what to do next. Maybe I'll put some sleeves on since I'm feeling a little weldy right now. Yeah, I put some sleeves on, weld this up, then we'll figure out the next adventure. I think it's just moving around on its own now. Where it stops, nobody knows. I'll tear my damn ground clip off. I gotta fix this axle today too. We'll get into that. It's just a quick repair. Yeah, since we got something to grab right here, I got a little bit of a concern. I'm 275 pounds and I just hung on that and it was pretty flexible. We haven't welded the base plate in yet either. If nothing less, it's gonna look cool. Erie Eric, you may follow him on Instagram, he helped with a number project. He said, ditch the crane, man. Just get your satellite dishes and mount the UFO on there with a rotisserie. There's always potential. So in a situation like this, people have mentioned that nozzle dip would definitely help with this amperage. I'm getting a lot of splatter and a lot of buildup on the inside of this. You can see, hopefully it focuses, but yeah, it's not supposed to look like that because that interferes with the flow of your shielding gas. So yeah, you want a nice, clear, smooth delivery. I'm assuming all that is gonna cause like a disturbance in the flow. Oh, we had a wire. That's why I bought another spool of wire. I know we're gonna be running it. Check this situation out. It's always right in the middle of a task too, without fail. Sure enough. All right, spooled up and ready to rock. I'm gonna just hop up here and cut this off while I'm thinking about it. Now, maybe I'll just weld this up. Then I'll cut it off because I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I feel like those pieces help it visually. Makes the base look a little bit more like beefy structure, even though it is, in comparison to that long H-beam coming out. Sure, we got our gas on. Got plenty of it too, that's good news. All right, let's finish this up. Then I'll step up there. Maybe some concern with me welding vertical down like this, even though it's not vertical, 100%. Again, this is overkill. I don't need the baddest of bad welds here. Cool. Little end detail, that looks better. All right, so the next thing I would think of is, I don't like this. Ask me why, I don't know why, I just don't like it. What I'm seeing is opportunity here to embellish I think I'm gonna cut this like that on both sides, because yeah, that square end is what bothers me. I'm gonna hit this. And I'm also paying attention to the width of this. This round rod is gonna land here. We're gonna truss it. Maybe like that, I don't know, let's cut this first. Probably heard me say this before. I don't like using the grinder with these gloves. It's just like, you don't get the feel. I feel like they could slip right out of my hand. I don't like it. I feel like with a trained hand, you're less prone to breaking the disc than to dropping it because your glove slipped. Yeah. Cool. Let's see, just again for visual. I don't like that. Looks left over. Even though it would act as a stop for opening, the ram will accomplish that anyway. See what I'm getting at? Looks a little cleaner. What do you think, Frank? I think Frank agrees. This episode probably gonna be a little short and sweet. I'm not even gonna cover me doing the other side. We'll just see that next time. The last thing I was thinking, kind of complement that. What do we do here? Does it come off of there? There's another hoo-ha right there. You tell me. I think it does. I think we're gonna pie cut this in right here. We're gonna go right to there. When I say pie cut, we're just gonna put a big wedge angle on that. If it don't look right, I'm gonna change it. This is my first thought. Let's see how I angled that. That way I can get in there with a weld. I'm gonna tack this on quick and then decide, sort of like I did the other stuff. Let's take a step back and think about that. Nope. You can already see it. It's a keeper. Yeah. Yeah. And then with one horizontal piece. All right. Maybe like that. Yeah, like that. Or does it look better like that? No, it looks better like that. That's cross right there. What do we think, folks? Yeah, adds an element of mystery to it. Like, why did he weld that on there type of mystery. Oh, look. I could have just used that piece I saved from the other side. Always a good time. I think just to finish off for today, I'm going to cut a plate that fills that. That's the only thing really visually bothering me. And that'll be removable, of course. What do we got? 8. Roughly 8 1/4. Let's make it 8. Yeah. A little bit shorter and sweeter today because I've been putting in some overtime on this thing. You know, you only see what we edit. So yeah, I feel like that helps out a lot. It is a rat rod, right? It's gonna be the Frankenstein's monster. So I think all the piecework, the stitching, it looks... I was looking at a lot of things regarding old tow truck booms. You remember the TV show? I did that vintage tow truck, and I wanted to do something like I saw in these old documentary photos where They just needed to pick stuff up. They used anything they could to cobble together. I mean, from, well drilling pipe to cables to everything, just to lift a car, right? As a wrecker. I think this follows that. Rural, homemade, little mad scientist crane. I hope it can pick something up. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm going to take this all apart and do the final welding. I got to weld this base plate in, but I was a little concerned when I don't want to get under it and yank on it, but I put some weight on there and it flexed. So if it flexes, it's okay. If it breaks, it's not okay. See you next time.